Hey guys, so I finally had a video here worth making just to give you guys a quick update on the truck. We did finally get it running. The guys over at Maverick Diesel, specifically Paul, was a huge help over there. It ended up being a really simple issue. Pretty frustrated I didn't figure it out myself, but it's just how it goes. But huge thanks to them for getting it all sorted. I was able to get down there and back in the same day. So that was clutch. So I'm gonna go ahead and kind of describe what was going on with a couple schematics that I have laying around the shop here, and then show you what the solution is gonna be moving forward. And then I'm gonna do a little quick install video on that and then show a couple other things we gotta get tightened up on the truck here. Okay, so unfortunately I spoke too soon. I thought I had a diagram with me, but I don't have that particular page printed off. But it's a really simple concept. And then before I do this, I just want to say that I'm not the one who figured this out. This was Paul. But I just wanted to kind of go over what was happening and sort of explain the issue here. So the way I have this wired up, the standalone harness for the common rail has a key on power supply and a constant power supply. So when the first gen key is in the ignition on position, everything works as it should. But when you hit the starter, you end up getting an effect where it basically is killing power to the key on portion of the ECM, which was not allowing it to fire the injector side of the harness. So I can't say that I know why the rest of it was staying on, but for this application, it was killing that injector harness. So really simple. All I'm gonna be doing is I got a little momentary button here, which is just gonna be a push to start. And then I'm gonna stick that probably over here where I used to have my cable pull for the 12 valve shut off, just because there's a hole there. I think I can kind of scoot it over and mount it somewhere, you know, like right in here probably. But basically that's the plan. And then I'm gonna pull from my key on panel behind my dash here, just because it's the easiest way to do it. That way ignition on is the only way that the switch can send power to the starter. I figure, you know, it just makes it, you know, safer that way, I guess. It probably doesn't matter, but that way key ignition on, hit the starter, let off, we're good to go. Everything works as it should, and then the key shuts it off like normal. So that's the plan. So I'm gonna go ahead and work on that, and then I will follow up with you guys. Okay guys, so I didn't do a lot of filming just because it's kind of a pain in the butt with how much I have them crawling around behind the dash and stuff to try to film it. But I did get the switch installed here. This is where the old like cargo light was. So I just went ahead and put the switch right here. Again, that's momentary, so it's only on when you're holding it. It has a single wire going to the starter solenoid. And then the other wire goes over here to my key on panel, which I made a video about. But I just jumped, you know, another wire off this block. I got a few more left to go, but all that does is go right to the switch. So when the key is on, that part of the wire now has power. And then this will trigger the starter just like your key would. And then power off is right there with my key like normal. So that's how I have that wired up. So the only things left really right now are going to be fixing a coolant leak that I have on the back. The fleece coolant bypass is leaking where it meets the block. I think it's just an issue where it just needs to be tightened up. I hope that's all it is. I'm not really sure what's going on because it feels tight, but I got to do some research on that. And then I think that's about it. There's a couple small things to do. I do need to switch the transfer case out. I have a new transfer case to run. The one that's in here is not correct. And so I'm not able to actually use four-wheel drive on it right now. So I have to do that swap there. And then just kind of like some odds and ends, loose things to finish up, and some other things are coming in. I am gonna be running a Willwood proportioning valve. The one down there is from a second gen, and I don't know that it's the proportioning valve or how I have everything routed, but I'm having an issue where if you ever stand on the brakes or do like a brake torque, it's wanting to hold pressure in the caliper, so it goes away by bleeding them. But I think there's an issue in the proportioning valve, so I'm just going to go to the Willwood. That way the fronts are independent, because I did have to tee off, which I wouldn't be surprised if this is where my problem's coming from. But basically this T here splits and goes to, you know, either front wheel, and there's a separate line for the back. But the Willwood has an individual right and left front, and then a rear line as well. So once that's in, that should fix the brake problem. And then I just have a flexible oil dipstick, and then a flexible transline dipstick. The engine oil is not a big deal. That one could have stayed the way it is, but the transline dipstick, I've always had issues with the clearance because of how tight the firewall is. It basically, excuse me, makes the approach angle really goofy where it goes into the trans pan or the top of the trans case, and it doesn't want to seal properly. So I think the flexible one's going to give me a lot better angle, and I can actually like tighten that thing down. So we're looking pretty good. Oh, and then the other last kind of big issue I have to sort out is a charging issue I have. So I'm gonna be chasing that one probably tomorrow, and we'll update you guys if I find anything on that. So hopefully this video is helpful for you guys if you're doing a common rail swap. I don't know if that would be everybody's experience with having to run the momentary push button, but I feel that probably is how that has to be done. Just because of how the first gen key is. So hopefully that helps you guys, and I'll catch you on the next video.